What's up, everyone? I'm Brian LaRosa, and welcome to LaRosa's Trains. This is my second video covering the complete history of a Lionel locomotive, the Electromotive SD60 diesel. However, it is also my first video officially under the new series name, Lionel's Laureate Locomotives. I talked about it in my last upload, so please click on the link on the top right of the screen if you want to learn more. Although I don't actually have any model of the SD60, I'm going to count every Lionel engine of that type, from the earliest examples to the most recent offerings ever produced. That includes the traditional low-nose version and the wide-nose SD60M. You'll learn some notable features from each item, as well as a few oddities throughout the timeline. Without further ado, let's dive deep into the complete history of Lionel's SD60 series. We'll start with a real-life prototype. During the 1970s, General Motors' Electromotive Division, or EMD, had its final years of success as the top diesel locomotive builder with respect to product sales in North America. The best-selling model at the time was the 3,000 horsepower 6-axle SD40-2, propelled by the 16-cylinder, 2-cycle 645 series diesel engine. EMD built over 4,000 units for many railroads across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. In 1981, the company designed a more powerful locomotive to supplant the -2 series by upgrading the 645 prime mover to 3,500 horsepower. The result was the SD50, equipped with a Super Series electronic wheel slip control system. Later versions of this type can produce up to 3,600 horses. Unfortunately, it turned out to be plagued with mechanical problems, mostly due to the engine reaching its limit. At the same time, General Electric ultimately became the #1 locomotive manufacturer, and EMD was losing its dominance in the market. But of course, it never gave up the competition. In 1984, EMD outshopped the 3,800 horsepower SD60 demonstrator, the first locomotive equipped with the 2-cycle 710 series V16 diesel engine. It is also the company's first to officially feature microprocessor controls, as personal computers became feasible for consumers. This technology reduced the complicated arrangement of electrical and mechanical parts on board the locomotive, lowering maintenance and operating costs. Major purchasers of the SD60 include Chicago and Northwestern, Conrail, CSX, Kansas City Southern, Norfolk Southern, Soo Line, and Union Pacific. Additional units were leased to a company called Oakway and were painted in a scheme resembling the demonstrator units. Likewise, a trio of SD60s were operated for a short time on the Burlington Northern Railroad with BN liveries. In 1989, EMD decided to offer a wide-nose variant inspired by the Canadian Comfort Cab for U.S. railroads. It is also called the Safety Cab due to its crashworthiness design, protecting the crew in the event of a collision. So, the next locomotive was the SD60M, where the M stands for modified because of the safety cab. Union Pacific was the first to buy this type, followed by Burlington Northern and the Soo Line. All three railroads initially received the units with a 3-piece windshield design prior to 1991. It was then changed to the 2-piece windshield. While BN and UP bought more SD60Ms, Conrail came next and acquired exclusively the late phase versions. Other noteworthy locomotive types include the AC Traction SD60 Mac that served as a testbed on the Burlington Northern, the Conrail SD60i with the isolated cab for noise reduction, and the Canadian National SD60F with the full-width cowl body. All examples of the SD60 series were produced until 1995, when they were succeeded by the EMD SD60 series, introduced 3 years earlier. Although less popular than the SD40-2, the SD60 sold even better than the SD50. As time went on, many SD60s have continued to haul freight trains up to pretty much the present. While some were retired, others were rebuilt to basically extend their lives and yet increase their reliability. The most notable rebuild is the Norfolk Southern SD60E, which features the distinctive crescent cab designed by the same railroad. We'll talk more about it when we get to Lionel's model of the SD60E. Although EMD's first SD60 was built with the narrow nose, Lionel's first O-gauge model of this type is the Comfort Cab SD60M, introduced in the 1994 consumer catalog. It is painted in Conrail blue and numbered 5500. Several notable features include a pair of working ditch lights, a flashing strobe light on top of the cab, magna traction, 2 Pullmore AC motors, the Liontech electronic reverse unit, and the Rail Sounds system, producing digitally recorded sounds. These include diesel roar, horn, and bell. Let's listen to some. Moving up to the 1997 Fall Heritage catalog, Lionel brought back the SD60 in the red Soo Line scheme. Like the Conrail version, this locomotive is also numbered 5500, but it does have several enhancements such as Trainmaster Command Control, Rail Sounds 2.5, electro couplers, and oscillating ditch lights at the sound of the horn. Both the Conrail and Soo Line versions appear to be semi-scale and can run on 031 curves, i.e., curves that form a 31-inch diameter circle. Since the latter comes from the same tooling as the former, its windshield has 2 panes instead of 3 like the real Soo Line SD60M would have. In the 1999 Volume 1 catalog, Lionel announced its first full-scale standard cab SD60 along with the wide cab SD70 Mac. It was available in 4 options: 2 Burlington Northern cab numbers, 9412 and 9413, and 2 CSX numbers, 8700 and 8701. These locomotives were offered in both conventional and command configurations. However, Lionel used to offer the TMCC and Rail Sounds upgrade kits for those people who wanted to convert conventional engines especially those made from 1998 onwards, to command control. While it is possible to install rail sounds without TMCC, some sound features may not be easily accessed through a transformer, so the handheld Cab 1 remote and command base are required for advanced operation. All the 4 SD60s were featured again in the 2000 Volume 1 catalog. Although these engines are built to scale, they do indeed have the same 031 minimum curve requirement as the aforementioned semi-scale SD60Ms. Instead of the traditional pull-more motors, they feature a pair of flywheel-equipped can motors for more prototypical momentum and slow-speed operation, whether in command or conventional mode. 2001 Volume 2. Lionel's next SD60 was Norfolk Southern number 6552, initially classified as a 2002 product. For that reason, it was re-announced in the 2002 Volume 1 catalog. Many of its features are the same as in the command-equipped Burlington Northern and CSX versions, but the NS version also includes the Odyssey speed control system, allowing better management of long trains over steep grades. 2004 Volume 2. The only SD60 featured was CSX 8701, painted in the 21st Century YN3 livery, aka the Dark Future scheme. It is one of 3 conventional O-scale diesels, the other 2 being a BNSF SD70 Mac and a Santa Fe-9 for hobbyists who are on a budget. However, there is no TMCC version of the SD60 in the same paint scheme for unknown reasons. All the 3 engines were offered with Magna traction and were part of the 2005 preview lineup, so they were shown again in the 2005 Volume 1 catalog. 2006 Volume 2. There's an SD60 painted in patriotic colors and lettered I Love USA. This engine was intended to be the power of Lionel's State Series boxcars. I guess it can alone pull 50 such boxcars and a caboose painted in the same scheme. Like the CSX YN3 version, the USA SD60 is a conventional engine, but without Magna traction. 2009 Volume 2. So this is an interesting one. On page 59 of the catalog, there are 2 legacy-equipped SD60Ms that apparently resemble the older semi-scale designs from the 90s. One is Florida East Coast, number 494, which is painted in the Rail America scheme, and the other is Union Pacific 6308. While they both feature legacy control and rail sounds, they do have pull-more motors and Magna traction, just like classic Lionel engines. Unfortunately, the 2 SD60s were cancelled and never came into existence. My guess is that they presumably didn't receive enough orders from consumers or even dealers, or Lionel had some technical problems that were too difficult to fix. Who knows? It would have been cool if these semi-scale SD60Ms were built, since we don't see many legacy-equipped O-gauge engines as opposed to full-scale models. 2010 Volume 1. There's a single Burlington Northern unit, number 8301, which is the first O-scale SD60 to feature legacy command control. Although the 2009 versions never came out, I consider them the very first legacy-equipped SD60s ever cataloged. On page 42 of the catalog, the same page as the engine, there are also a crane car and boom car painted in BN colors, but these are all sold separately, not as a set, just to avoid any misconceptions. 2010 Volume 2. The Lionel Legacy SD60 was offered in 3 different paint schemes. There's another Burlington Northern engine, number 8302, 2 CSX units, and 2 Sioux-Line units. There had not been any O-scale Legacy wide cab SD60 until the 2015 Volume 2 catalog, when Lionel announced its first SD60E rebuilds. As many of you know, Norfolk Southern outshopped 3 specially painted units, one honoring military veterans in 2012, one commemorating Go Rail's 10th birthday in 2014, and one honoring first responders in 2015. Although Lionel fabricated the new SD60E tooling for the body and the crescent cab, the trucks and fuel tank came from the older SD60 tooling, and that's understandable because Lionel wants to save manufacturing costs and make a profit. In addition to the 3 commemorative SD60Es, 2 regular NS cab numbers were offered. 2017 Signature Edition. This is another interesting catalog because Lionel offered a new scale version of the SD60M. There are 7 different paint schemes in this lineup. The main feature is, of course, the railroad-specific wide cab configurations, some with 2-piece windshields and others with 3-piece windshields. However, the most unusual thing about the SD60 is that it was the first O-scale diesel available in both Legacy and Lion Chief Plus versions. Lion Chief is usually offered in traditional semi-scale engines. Other than the electronic options, both versions are identical to each other. To my knowledge, the SD60M is the only Lionel scale diesel equipped with either Lion Chief or Legacy, as all the other O-scale engines in the catalog have exclusively the latter. In the 2017 Volume 2 catalog, Lionel began installing Bluetooth decoders on virtually all recent Legacy locomotives so they can be compatible with the Lion Chief handheld remote or the smartphone app. Let's go over the paint schemes of the SD60M. The 3-window cab version was offered in the following road names: Burlington Northern, Sioux-Line, Union Pacific, and Norfolk Southern. The NS variant is based on a fleet of former BNSF units originally built for Burlington Northern. The 2-window cab versions include BN number 1991, Conrail, and CSX. With the exception of 1991, all the Legacy-equipped SD60s were offered in 2 cab numbers each. While the Lion Chief engines have the same selection of paint schemes, only 1 cab number was available in each livery. Because the Legacy versions contain more advanced features than the Lion Chief versions, the retail price on the former is $150 more than on the latter. The SD60M body is all new, but the chassis appears to come from the older SD60 tooling. As with the SD60E, this was done to presumably save production costs. Okay, that's pretty much all the SD60s made by Lionel. So the final total is 42. That equals to 4 semi-scale SD60Ms, including the 2 cancelled Legacy versions from 2009, 13 scale low-nose SD60s, 5 Norfolk Southern SD60Es, and 20 scale SD60Ms, including 13 with Legacy and 7 with Lion Chief Plus. I hope I've counted all of them correctly, and I'm sure that I didn't miss anything substantial to this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Since I briefly talked about the SD50 earlier, let's take a quick look at all the Lionel SD50s over the years. This locomotive has a similar body style to the SD60, but is powered by the 645 series diesel engine, and that's part of the reason behind the bonus chapter you're watching. The first O-gauge SD50 was announced in Lionel's 1995 consumer catalog. It came in only 2 Rio Grande versions, one conventional unit with a diesel horn, and the other equipped with rail sounds too. The latter was among the first Lionel locomotives labeled as Trainmaster Command Equipped. However, since both engines have the Liontech reverse units, it is possible to run them together as a multiple engine arrangement, or lash-up. For some strange reason, Lionel did not make any more O-gauge SD50s until the 2023 Volume 2 catalog, when the newly tooled, Legacy-equipped scale version was announced. While making this video, I originally thought the SD50 tooling was purchased from MTH Electric Trains, since its founder, Mike Wolf, retired in 2021, but no, this engine is all original, as confirmed by Lionel's production director, Ryan Kunkel. That's why the catalog says it is from new tooling. In fact, MTH did offer its latest Premier O-Scale SD50 in 2024, so the company indeed still owns the tooling. Let me give you a quick example of a Lionel product that is actually from a former MTH tooling. In the 2022 Volume 1 catalog, the Doodlebug railcar and the GE Genesis diesel were offered with Lion Chief Plus 2.0. Apparently, the catalog did not label them as new tooling, suggesting that these types were previously part of the MTH Rail King O-gauge line. In fact, I do have both the Doodlebug and the Genesis as Rail King products in my train collection. The 2023 Lionel Legacy SD50 was offered in 6 different railroad names: Chassis System with B&O initials, Rio Grande, Missouri Pacific in Union Pacific colors, Norfolk Southern, labeled as SD40E, Conrail, which includes the Support Our Troops ribbon version, and the Reading and Northern. All examples were available in 2 powered cab numbers of each road name, except for the latter, and they also include a single, non-powered Super Bass unit. For the uninitiated, Super Bass refers to the growling diesel engine that produces a bass sounding effect. The SD40Es are Norfolk Southern's rebuilt versions of the SD50, in which their original horsepower rating was downgraded to 3,000. They are prominently assigned to helper duty at the Horseshoe Curve in Altoona, Pennsylvania. In the same catalog as the individual units, there's also the Lehigh Gorge Scenic Railway set, consisting of 1 SD50 diesel, 3 passenger cars, and 1 caboose. Of course, we don't normally see a caboose at the end of a passenger train, but this set is true to the real-life tourist train. So, the total number of Lionel SD50s is 20, equal to 2 semi-scale Rio Grande units from 1995, and 18 Legacy scale versions from 2023. Not too many engines built, but I could be incorrect. If you have any SD50 in your collection, then you showed this underrated diesel some love. Don't get me wrong. Okay, that pretty much sums up this video. I hope you've enjoyed and appreciated the history of Lionel's EMD SD50 and 60, the predecessors to the SD70 series, including the popular ACE version. I could be missing a few examples while researching, but that's all these Lionel diesels I found. I don't think there are any custom run versions of either type, but I'm more concerned about the cataloged models. So, what's the future for them? Well, for O-scale hobbyists, I think a Lionel should reissue the low nose and wide nose SD60s with more innovative features, such as 4-digit addressing, available exclusively on the Cab 3 app when connected to the Base 3. And maybe they can each include a non-powered super bass unit, just like the SD50. Same thing for the SD60E. Now, I know it seems unlikely, but it would be cool if Lionel considers making the semi-scale SD60M with the less expensive Lion Chief Plus 2.0, which is compatible with almost any Lionel control system. Maybe the same thing could work for the semi-scale SD50 to a lesser extent. Who knows? Once again, I would like to give credit to the Lionel Collectors Club of America, which has the complete digital archive of all the Lionel catalogs from 1900 to 2010. Without it, I would not possibly be able to make a complete history video like this one you've just watched. If you'd like to visit the archives, you must apply for membership at lionelcollectors.org. More recent catalogs from 2011 to present can be viewed publicly at lionel.com/catalogs. Links to both sites are in the description. Hopefully, you'll learn and appreciate the promotion of every train product manufactured throughout the company's 125-year history. My pick of the month this time around is not related to the Lionel SD60 by any means, but I have a couple of souvenirs to show you. On April 27th, 2025, we visited the Day Out with Thomas at the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad Museum in Baltimore, Maryland. This is my second time attending this event because my first was back in 2019. After riding the train with Thomas the Tank Engine, we went to a gift shop inside a tent and found at least 2 items that best suit my preferences. One is a clip-on bow tie decorated in the vintage style Thomas. I'm so glad Mattel is acknowledging the history of the Railway series, first written by Wilbert Awdry in 1945. So the reason we chose to visit the Day Out with Thomas was to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the franchise. Very beautiful bow tie. The other item I bought is the handsome wooden railway model of Hero, the Japanese engine. For those of you who don't know, Hero was introduced in a 2009 movie called Hero of the Rails, which is the first Thomas production animated in full computer-generated imagery, or CGI. I watched it with my sister earlier this year, and I think the story is excellent. I used to be skeptical about CGI Thomas for a pretty long time, but finally admitted that there's always something good about it, and Hero of the Rails is no exception. Up until now, I never purchased any new wooden railway stuff since 2010, I believe, though I did buy a used model of Flying Scotsman last year at a train show in Chantilly, Virginia. Hero is a perfect candidate to be the first CGI character in my wooden railway collection. Now, since it was observed on May 12th, I'm wishing Thomas and friends a very happy belated 80th birthday. It really has influenced my life forever and ever. If you'd like to support La Rosa's Trains, I would greatly appreciate it. That can be done through my Patreon page at patreon.com/LaRosasTrains. Patrons will receive exclusive benefits, which are all explained directly on this page. Link in the description. Your contribution, regardless of your preferred membership, is essential not only to me, but to the future of La Rosa's Trains. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And be sure to hit the subscribe button so you can see what's coming up next from this channel. Anyway, that's all for now, and as always, thanks for watching. I'm Brian LaRosa, and I'll see you next time.